Welcome to Holding Space. Michael Zen is a visual producer and creative photographer using his imaginative visionary energy to channel Zen and hold space for spiritual and innovative discussion. Each episode creates a supportive, accepting, and open environment that allows exploration and expertise to come together with engaging and entertaining convergence. With guest and community all helping the shape of the way, Michael is grateful to be together to hold space. Now here is your host of Holding Space, Michael Zen.
Yes, hello and welcome. I am Holding Space and I'm Michael Zen, just like the guy said in the intro. Thank you, Todd, for that awesome intro. I'm here on the whole Sacred Spiral Network, which is kind of a second home for me. I started doing this stuff on the live stream of consciousness, and through that I've just met an amazing community of people who love to have the kinds of conversations I love to have. And the Sacred Spiral Network, a bunch of people started watching my show from there, and I started to integrate some of the hosts from the Sacred Spiral Network as guests on my show. So there's a lot of psychic mediums and EVP investigators and really cool things happening. So thank you to the Sacred Spiral Network for supporting me and allowing me to hold space for others and do what I love to do. Thank you, Eveline, for being here off the bat and reminding me to tell everybody to type in #live if you're here watching live. If it's Tuesday, May 13th, and it's 9 o'clock, you're live. So type in #live. That tickles the algorithm, tells them that we're here and that they should be here and they should send other people here. Share if you can do that. Just click a button. It's super easy to do. And that just helps grow this community of people who love to think and love to speak about it. And that's what I love to do. As a matter of fact, I mentioned this on the live stream of consciousness last Thursday. I'm a fan of this platform and holding these discussions, and I watch a couple of podcasts that I would love to share. I see Brian out there, I see Katie out there, I see Brother Jim out there, and also in the green room. Awesome. Good to see everybody kind of joining in and chatting and starting to introduce yourselves to each other in the chat room. I love when people do that. But as I was saying, I partake in a bunch of these different podcast platforms, and one of them is Wisdom from North with Janica. An amazing show with amazing guests, amazing conversation. So I just want to share some of these. These are pre-recorded podcasts. This is live, so you can actually talk to me, you could talk to my guest, you can interact, you can be a part of it. I like doing it live, but these are amazing conversations. So Janica from Wisdom from North is one that I watch. Also Michael Phillip, I'm sorry, from Third Eye Drops. Amazing conversations. This one right here, The Ancient Key to the UFO Phenomenon, and this one, Alien Alliance or Infiltration, are some great new takes on disclosure and kind of are we alone question, and just again conversations that I love to have. And then there's always Alex Ferrari and the Next Level Soul podcast, which are also just amazing things. I think that sensationalism sells, and you could see they kind of get these sensational headlines, but the conversations are really heartfelt and really awesome, and I recommend them. So that's why I'm taking the time to recommend to you guys, if you like watching this kind of stuff, having these conversations, there you go. So I'm also seeing some new people coming in. Rosa, what's up? Rosa from South Africa, welcome. I love the fact that people from all over the world are stepping into this space and sharing the fact that they're from somewhere else, and we're creating a new space here. I love that. That's awesome. So welcome. I love Next Level Soul. Yeah, Next Level Soul is pretty amazing. So Anyway, I wanted to give kudos to those podcasts. I wanted to also say, hey, we're live and you can interact, and people are interacting. So I appreciate that. I also wanted to just talk about something that's special to me for a moment before I bring on my guest, who I'm super excited about. And that is something that I'm working on myself, which is this living book. I brought this up by accident for a second, called You Are the Answer. I'm kind of collaborating with ChatGPT on my ideas and my philosophies about who we are in this universe and all of that kind of stuff. And I know that I'm a healer, right? I know that I'm a light worker. I know that I operate from the heart. I know that I love to see things connect. I love when people see that light. But I'm not a healer in a traditional sense. All right. I'm not a psychic medium. I'm not a Reiki master. But the way that I share my gift and I share my light is through humor, through these conversations. And You Are the Answer is one of those endeavors. It's a book that I'm writing in kind of a Douglas Adams style, in the kind of guide style of understanding that the question of what is the purpose of the universe? Why am I here? The answer is different for everybody, but the same. The answer is you. You are the answer. And that's what I'm doing on Facebook. So look for that group, You Are the Answer, on Facebook, and then we can all feel warm and fuzzy. Oh, anyway, I am rambling, which I usually tend to do around 5 minutes into the show. So that means it's time to introduce the next guest on Holding Space. And tonight I'm holding space for somebody who just came into my vortex recently. I was invited onto a podcast called TEAMRABBITHOLE, and the friend who invited me, Raphael, is I know he's involved in a lot of cool conversations that I love to have, sometimes leaning towards more of like a conspiracy theory tip, and stuff like that. But what I love about Raphael is the love energy, right? So you could talk about conspiracy theories, but not out of fear or anger, but kind of out of love and just out of observation. And hey, these things might exist. Let's question them. So I was invited on the podcast thinking that's the way it was going to go. And brother Jim Kincaid, who is the host of TEAMRABBITHOLE with Raphael, just showed me so much love. And it was like looking in the mirror, which I love when that happens. I love when you find somebody who you just, as they're speaking to you, are like, wait a second, I think that too. And you just kind of find this, your vibe finds your tribe. So without further ado and more babbling, welcome to Holding Space, brother Jim Kincaid.
What up? What up?
How you doing,
Aloha,
my
sir. Your rambling is totally justified. I had your chart up. I gotta pull it up again. I know you're a Libra. I gotta look at it again. But yeah, what's up, man?
What's up? You're up. I'm here to hold some space for you, talk about who you are and what you do, and get into the thick of it, like we did on your show.
Geek out.
Talking about energy and love and existence and the opposite of love, right? I think one of the things that we were talking about, while I was watching your podcast, you were given a reading and you started talking about some things that might not be considered so light, right? That might be considered dark.
Very heavy, non-PC kind of topic.
Yeah, and the cool thing about that is immediately I felt you kind of like be like, wait a second, I don't want to offend anyone.
I got self-conscious.
I don't want to bring the dark into the light, but I was like, wait a second, the dark is part of the light. Like you can, when you turn on the light, what happens? You make shadows, and you know what I mean? Like, so I was right there with you, and I just, like I said, I love when you communicate with somebody, not necessarily through words, but just kind of through context and through energy. That's something that's what started the live stream of consciousness, and those conversations and even holding space, became a place where I can bring somebody to the platform. And I love saying this, kind of bring your puzzle piece, right? Bring your piece of the puzzle to the picnic so we can talk about it. And that's what I want to do. Brian Medium out there saying hello, brother Jim.
What
and
up?
Gemma Ball is saying hello. So I know that you have been after we met. I kind of noticed that you are doing live readings every morning from a few different like tarot decks and a few different kind of perspectives. And there's a very deep astrological I don't want to say curve, but maybe even I could say base to it. Like it's kind of that's the base, and then you take it to the tarot, which does I guess have astrological ties to it, but also takes from the energy spectrum as well. So how long have you been doing tarot?
Okay, so I mean, just so people get it, like tarot or tarot, I don't even care. I think tarot sounds bougier, so I tend to say tarot. But you're not wrong, so say it however thou wilt. I fell into that really inadvertently at some point I started waking up pretty hard. I had a few kind of experiences which we can talk about or not earlier in my life, random ones, but I kind of pushed them to the side and was like, whatever, I'm a stoner, I'm having fun. I don't want to care about that. And around 2012, shocker, I started really taking seriously synchronicity, psychedelics, listening to people like Alan Watts and Terrence McKenna and stuff. And I had gotten involved romantically for a 2-week fling with this girl who was, I think like 8 years younger than me at the time or something, but she was into the occult really hard. And basically over kind of pillow talk, we were getting like kind of geeking out about charts because I was into astrology. But at this point, I mean, it was a hobby. I was getting a little deeper at that point than like just straight up sun sign, like newspaper. When you look, I'm a Gemini, you're a Libra. Like that's an aspect of the chart. But anyway, so we're kind of geeking out, and I didn't see her for months. Like it was just a thing. I don't do that usually, but like it was kind of a in and out operation. And then a few months later, I get a call from her, and it was not like I'm pregnant or anything. Thankfully, it was like I've converted Jehovah's Witness, I think, or maybe Mormonism, but I'm pretty sure Jehovah's Witness, and I'm getting rid of all my occult stuff. Do you want it? And like books and decks, like tarot decks and all sorts of stuff. And at that point, I'd always been somewhat interested in astrology peripherally and kind of been opening up, like I said, waking up in multiple ways. LSD has an effect like that. But I hadn't really messed with a tarot deck. So when she came over and dropped off this box, I'm looking through it, and there was this really, really cool, kitschy, I'm an art history dropout, but there was this deck. You can look it up or whatever. People at home can get it still. It's called the Zombie Tarot. I'm not even that into zombies. And it's got really cool I can't even explain it. It's if you see the images, you'll know what I mean. It's like 1950s kind of it's just cool art. It's very unique, very kitsch is the best way I can put it. And it just vibed really hard with me, and it was unopened. Still like cellophane and stuff. So I was like, all right, I'll start messing with this. And I mean, if you look at it and zoom in, it's like I don't remember exactly everything. It's been years. I left it in Australia right during COVID. I went there and left this there by accident. But basically, I kind of was like, all right, I'm gonna mess with this. Like the art is really cool. It's what drew me in. And I like art and images and anyway. So I was like, okay, I'll mess with this. And then I started kind of being like, all right, I'm gonna just do a vibe check and like, pull one in the morning, the evening, and the night. And kind of I mean, it's a little morbid. It's zombies and stuff, but each one
no, that's cool though. I definitely relate to the idea of kind of being an art geek and being attracted to visual things, right? Visceral, like record. I grew up collecting records and like that kind of thing. So I love this. This is awesome.
No, you dig it. And it even had like a story being like, oh look, scientists have created a zombie thing and it's gotten out, and now we're co-living with the zombies. There was like, even you could say like a backdrop story to the cups, to the pentacles, to the whatever they were calling it, because in that it's different. The swords are like machetes and whatever. It's been so long since I've looked at this. Hazards or all this kind of stuff. But anyway, I turned onto that, and I basically just started experimenting with it. I'm a Sun and Moon Gemini with Jupiter in Aquarius. And Mars Mercury conjunct in Cancer, so I'm like willing to play with kind of weird ideas and magic, one could say. And basically that's where it started. I had that deck. I started fiddling around, kind of just doing like, if I pull this card like morning, noon, and night and reflect on the day, like how did that vibe check with that? And I did that for a little while, and then ironically, when I went to Ecuador in 2018, this is like I started doing Facebook Lives, which turned into the Team Rabbit Hole podcast, right? Eventually, but I started kind of basically, that's why I call it my daily card jam. I mean, if you look up hashtag daily card jam, you're going to see it on Facebook and Instagram and random places. But long story short, I used to be like pull a card and like kind of talk about it, and then improvise musically to it. So yeah, it's a little trickier in the setup I'm at now, so I don't do that as much. But every day for a while, I used to do that, and that is kind of how I fell into tarot. I mean, that was a long-winded answer, but yeah, a love affair blossomed this. She was a Cancer. She was cool. But yeah, it ended up being nothing more than, birthing the occult baby, so to speak.
Wow, very cool. And I mean, so you felt drawn to it. Did that kind of, and you said you were kind of awakening, right? Going through this kind of awakening. Did the tarot remind you of things like, oh, when I was younger, I used to do this or that, and all of a sudden it made sense now that you were connected to the tarot? Tarot?
You could say it however. I interchange it all the time. So I don't want to over mystify it in a sense. I'm not a material reductionist by any means. So I do think that I kind of live, like I said, I'm a Sun and Moon Gemini, so I have this kind of like ability to hang in the paradox. It's really between two poles. On the one hand, there's more to the picture than meets the eye, kind of Neil Young. But then at the same time, all you touch and all you see is all your life will ever be, Pink Floyd style. So it's like, I don't tend to look at tarot as like, oh my gosh, my 5D Pleiadian self is channeling this. Like maybe things like that are occurring, and I'm not going to say it's not true. But I tend to look at it as we're chopping up it's very Jungian for me. We're chopping up a comic book. We're pulling things, synchronicities occurring. We're projecting our minds or consciousness, or however you want to put that, into a situation, and we're going to draw out the symbol sets we need to in the story that's being displayed. I'm always pleasantly surprised with the level of synchronicity and resonance.
Right.
So it doesn't feel like I'm really, like it doesn't feel like I'm just scraping at the barrel for vibes, or you know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm not going to like stuff the turkey with stuff that I can't defend ontologically. So I'm not going to I'm channeling something high. It's like maybe I am, but I'm not claiming that.
No, that's really interesting. An interesting approach. I've never really heard that. Almost like to validate the whole idea that it's real, reverse engineering it.
Yeah, it's a tool. I mean, everything's kind of a tool. I've only been to a psychic once. I don't need to go in that story right now necessarily, but like I've never messed with a Ouija board. I'm into psychedelics, but when I smoke DMT, I talk to Egyptian deities and stuff. So it's like it's one of these things where I'm like, I'll play with the fire, but I'm not going to claim anything past a point. Some people are much more comfortable with that. I like to think of myself, especially with my Mars and Mercury conjunct in Cancer, which means anything to anybody who's in astrology. Basically, I'm really intuitive, and as a Sun and Moon Gemini with an Aquarius Jupiter, I can pick up on patterns and synthesize and just make correspondences really quickly. So I think that's kind of what I'm doing. We're all storytellers. It's one of these things where I think anybody can play with tarot. What up? I'm forgetting his name. Yeah, Brian. I was like Wizard of Oz. I was gonna call him. I know Brian. He's been on the podcast a few times. Shout out. So on the one hand, I do think anybody can pick up these tools. So it's democratic in a sense. It's accessible. I am of the opinion that maybe some people are more inclined, kind of like athletics. Some people have a build for it, though anybody can swing a bat, kind of thing.
Right. That's a good analogy. I like that.
Cards are like that, and astrology is like that. When I give astrology readings and stuff, I try to get people to equip themselves to be their own mini astrologers, so you don't have to like disempower yourself and outsource. Because one of the worst things I think, and I've seen it happen a lot in new age kind of circles and stuff, is when people find somebody they really like, and I'm sure I'm guilty of this in some ways with some of my favorite thinkers like Terence McKenna or Bashar or whatever, but and they're like, only those answers. He's got my answers, or she's got my answers, and it's like we can get our answers, and these are the tools to do that through. Right. So, I mean, I just rambled all over the place, but yeah,
no, I love it. I love it. Yeah, that's exactly kind of what I wanted to know, and it's interesting because you're describing it kind of differently, I think, in a way, than I would, but I think that we both resonate with it, right?
Mhm.
As valid and a valid way to connect with things that are not physical.
Archetypal. Like, I mean, it's an aesthetic trigger in a
Mhm.
large way. That's how at the very least it's that. That's why I was saying I'm not a material reductionist. I'm not just like this person who says, you know, when I don't know what happens when we die. I don't know if there's, I play the game as though there's more to the picture than meets the eye. But I mean, to prove that is a tricky thing. Are we just deluding ourselves with pineal gland trippery or whatever? Like, I'm willing to play with any idea, including that I might be deluding myself.
Right,
So, but as far as these things go, I think anybody can just do what I did. I mean, if you want, get a deck that resonates with you,
right,
and start messing around in the sense, I mean, the same thing happened with astrology. I wasn't just getting into it and being like, I'm going to be an astrologer. I was like, oh, let me investigate this. Oh, let me, correspond
right,
this
right, right,
chart to the people I know, and is it adding up and matching? And at some point, especially with psychedelics involved, um, I couldn't deny it. Like, I was just like,
right,
oh, I see, like, I'm a
right,
Leo rising, or I see a Capricorn rising. I was like, I'm
right.
seeing the archetype.
But
Um,
it's interesting the analogy that you used, right? Because I feel like the same thing could be said about somebody who is a baseball player, right?
mm,
Or a bass player, right?
mhm.
Who just wakes up and they're just drawn to pick up the instrument and just like it becomes a part of them. And it wasn't always that way. It was from being exposed. Somebody showed it to them, and there was something about it that like called to them and said, "Ooh, you like this." And ooh, let me do it again. Ooh, let me see what I can do with it now. Let me take it a little further. Let me take it even a little further. And you just keep developing that muscle as it like you said, if it was a baseball player, a bass player, a musician, or tarot, it's just something that spoke to you and compelled you to continue and pursue
Right.
it.
I mean, it's not an argument, but it's like one could say, I mean, it depends on your presuppositions, but it's like, is this unavoidable? Like in the Matrix, she's like, "Oh,
Mhm.
don't worry about the vase," and he's like, "What vase?" Click, and she's like, "That one. You were gonna do it, and I knew it." Like, are these unavoidable things? I got into guitar randomly one day. I was just like, "I guess I'll pick up my dad's guitar," and it was like kind of led by the spirit mode.
Right.
Um, no, kind of like I want to pick up chicks and be a rock star kind of thing. It's just like I need to do this. So is
Right.
that something coming from the inside, saying I need to search out there? Because I think we're all scientists and curious little
Sure.
inklings or whatever
Sure.
in the Tao. So we're here to explore, but then
Right.
it's not. It's a little like Animal Farm, like all animals are equal except some. It's like there's a spectrum. So anybody can sing, but some people are Mariah Carey and some people aren't,
Right.
and anybody
Right.
can
Right. Right.
play with magic, and stuff like that. It's accessible to anybody, but then I think some people have proclivities that lend themselves to more fluid experiences
Right.
or whatever. I'm
Right.
rambling. Sorry.
No, no, you're totally not. And it's interesting because I don't know. Oh, I forgot to mention in the intro, I forgot to mention another amazing podcast, Acid for Squares.
I've heard of that.
Who
I
is
think you
who
turned me
is
on to that.
I did, and it's Cody Snyder, and they were having a conversation. So this is totally related to you. I apologize to all the people who are probably like waiting for readings and stuff, but
Uh-huh.
this is totally related to you and to DMT and that kind of threshold of experience. Um, First, let me talk about the guy that they were talking to. I forget his name. I'll look it up in a second. He discovered this thing, and you may have seen this. It went viral that he took DMT,
Lasers.
the laser thing,
Okay,
right?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
so he was on their show,
Okay.
and they were talking to him, and he said that there is actually something that is related to human beings and the shape that you are, and this is related to sacred geometry and shapes.
Hmm.
The shape that you are has something to do with like who you are and what you become and the things that
How you
vibe with
resonate.
you, how you
Yeah.
resonate, exactly how you resonate. And that does that make sense? Hell yes, it does make sense,
Not a square is not a triangle, but shapes are all cool, kind of
uh,
thing. Yeah.
right, exactly. And they just started talking about like think about all the accountants and like how they all look, and there's like this similarity to their shape,
They're
and
all Capricorns. Let's be
they
real,
all
man.
started talking about Einstein and the shape he was allowed him to
Huh.
become who he was. It was an interesting
Einstein's a
conversation.
Pisces, just for the record.
It was an
Um,
interesting conversation.
I'll have to check it
Uh,
out. I like the title just alone, Acid for Squares. I mean, it's like, of
yeah,
course, let's
yeah.
all take the test.
But so this concept, if you guys haven't heard about this out there, this guy kind of discovered that while he was on DMT, he was shining a laser against a wall, and he was looking into the laser light, and he described a code like the Matrix, like he saw a code, and he started experimenting with it by just showing it to other people, and it was repeatable. Everybody was seeing the same thing, and now they're doing this incredible film about it, a documentary about it, where him and the filmmaker are really close, and the filmmaker has purposely never done DMT and not done it so that he can keep this kind of unbiased
He's the
view
control
of the whole thing, like a control.
Right.
And it's just so
he's missing out for science, I guess.
It's so fascinating. But Acid for Squares, yes, it's called Acid for Squares. Cody Snyder, who is one of Dee Snyder's sons, and his wife Tanya, run that podcast, and it's phenomenal. They talk to some amazing people. They've actually had Bashar in their studio, and I was just like, I'm like, you guys met Bashar? Like, holy mo, I'm not celebrity like anything, and like I would love to meet Bashar. I think
Daryl Anka. I don't know. Meeting Bashar might be the weirder trip, right? Where it's like, oh shit, there's a UFO.
That's true, right? They met Daryl Anka, and they talked about Bashar, but amazing stuff. And anyway,
even the point, I mean, everybody who does psychedelics might know this, is I call them trip toys or whatever. Like, you can kind of geek out on anything and just kind of get lost in, the grain of sand is the universe kind of mode. My first mushroom trip was actually like that. I was like, oh my god, water fills objects, like eureka kind of moment, where I was just like, oh my gosh, like volumetrics basically. But the point is, one cannot prove this either way. It's just interesting to pontificate about, where it's like, did that guy stumble into, like, was it totally random that he was like messing with lasers and doing DMT? Was this like in his chart? Was this like part of his soul contract, where it's like, look, you're gonna do some weird shit, and it's gonna open up people's eyes?
Because if it turns out to be significant, he'll be in history as the guy who opened that door, right?
It's like the apple with Isaac Newton myth. Yeah, he's exactly. Like, I just shined a laser on drugs, and we saw the handlers. Right? I guess
I just fell asleep under a tree. So Michelle is saying, a friend of mine was only comfortable with using angel cards, but didn't want to use tarot cards. She believed they were dark. What are your thoughts on that?
So ironically, and I can get them in a minute, I've got a bunch of decks, right, different kinds, and I can understand why people have attachments, like beliefs and kind of presuppositions around things. I'm not going to say they're true or false. Like, for example, I've never messed with a Ouija board. I've heard a lot of tales, and I don't feel personally resonant needing to do that, though I have a pendulum, which is not too dissimilar. And if you're starting to go down like the religious route, in a sense, it's like the high priest of the Hebrews, the Israelites, had a Urim and Thummim or something like that, it's called, which is like a black and white stone. They used to basically cast lots and be like, should we go to war? Yes or no? Like, kind of vibes. So to answer the question, I have an angel deck from Wizard of Oz, actually. Yes. He's got a beautiful angel deck, and I hadn't really, I'm not that big into angels. My co-host on the podcast, like you mentioned, is Raphael, an angel name. And I've had a cat that was put down in my arms, ironically, when it was really old, named Gabriel. So it's like, angel names happen, right? But I'm not sitting around just like trying to channel Michael or anything like that. Right. So so it's not that I'm against them. I mean, even Bashar means messenger, and I think Islamic or whatever, Persian or something. And then angel means messenger. So in terms of the cards, if somebody's beliefs and definitions, I hate to sound like Daryl, if somebody's beliefs or permission slips in his worldview, if they're like, I'm only comfortable with this, you need to, it's, as a Gemini, I'm like, I thought of this the other day, and it's after Bashar, kind of a lot of thinking about his stuff. It's like, we know, we believe what we know, but do we know why we believe it? So always investigate these things, but don't also just, if someone's like, hey, let's all drink cyanide, and, peer pressure yourself past what your comfort zones are to a degree. You don't want to, be inauthentic. Anyway, as far as angel cards, I use Brian Lars, Wizard of Oz, his angel deck on Sundays, because I pull a different kind of wild card. Like this one is Galactic Heritage I just have here. That's for moon days, right? And I just have so many decks. So I was like, because I used to do like 7 cards at once. My girlfriend was like, this is insane. Like, it's an hour long, like cut it back. And I'm like, oh, okay. So even like a month or 2 ago, I started cutting back into this mode. Anyway, as far as angel cards, if people feel more resonant, or if that's like the permission slip or the entry point, the gateway drug, however they want to put that they're comfortable with, by all means, go for it. Like, there's nothing preventing us from doing stuff. If it's some like edict in terms of like a religious sentiment, or because I understand, how would I put it? Tarot is a very mysterious thing. I've read about, kind of Emerald Tablet, Thothian, Egyptian kind of connections, I guess you could say, where it's like this stuff is hermetic at some level and ancient in that way, Atlantean possibly, whatever. I've heard obviously the Rider-Waite Smith deck. Smith is the artist, female, and then Rider-Waite are like, I guess, the writers and producers or whatever. They were a part of the Golden Dawn, which was an esoteric, Aleister Crowley was in that crew at some point. So I mean, there's baggage, you could say, psychic egregore baggage to some of this stuff, but at the same time, I mean, what are you going to do about it? Like, if you're a Christian, it's like there's 12 tribes of Israel, there's 12 apostles, there's 12 signs of the zodiac. Like, how do you think they found baby Jesus? Magicians from the East, or, whatever, like stuff like that. So to answer her question, long story, how do I feel? Whatever, even you can use anything. You don't have to use these cards. They just have built-in associations and very tethered archetypal meanings to the degree where I think they're going to unlock things more readily. But in a weird way, like the cards I've got, and that's the Fool card, right? And it doesn't. This guy, he's been on my podcast a few times, David DeAngelis, the Starman Tarot deck, and it's total. I mean, it's using the archetypes. Like I said, when you look at it from my perspective earlier, it's like a comic book you've chopped up.
Right.
I mean, you can, that can go very badly or very well, I guess, depending on how you're approaching it. Like, if you're like, the comic book has all my answers, it's like, okay, be careful with that. But if you're, so I don't know if I'm answering her question.
No, I think you are. And I think, for me,
angel decks are cool. I got one.
Yeah, for me, I'm going to answer it. I'm going to answer it this way, because I had a friend named Angelo, coincidentally, who is really, he's like kind of asking lots of questions, right? He's like having an awakening. He's trying to figure out the answer, right? He wants his aha moment, right?
Burning bush.
So he's asking me questions, and he'll ask me a question like, "Have you heard the violet flame? Is that real?" And my answer to him is, do you feel like it's real? Like, I mean, I can't answer that. You know what I mean? For you, I can only answer that for me. And I feel like that about a lot of the different metaphysical modalities, right? Is like, how does it feel to you? If you feel like channeling is fake, don't watch it. It doesn't resonate with you.
Well, it gets tricky because you don't want to be afraid of the dark woods, just and like let fear dictate you, but you do want to honor your boundaries. So it's this weird dance between like expand yourself like through discernment. Yes. If that makes sense. You don't want to, it's absolutely. Like if you're I don't know, drugs are, I don't know. It's like, I'll smoke DMT because I've never done even. Weed.
And that's a good point too, right? So I was having a conversation, and in one of the comments that went by I didn't get to address said block all negativity. And
good luck with that. That's a negative statement.
Yeah, and I'm like, right, and I'm
negational
like,
statement.
Yeah. You don't need, like I said earlier, like you turn on the light, you turn on the light, and you're making a shadow. Like they exist together. You've just got to accept that. And that was one of the things I think that's why we resonate, right? Is because we're looking at that with love and not with fear, right? Not like, oh my God, evil exists. Holy crap, what do we do? How do we eliminate it? We're not out to eliminate evil, right? We're out to like let evil do its thing and stand over there, and we'll stand over here,
right? And a lot of things. I love Brian's comment, the woods are lovely, dark and deep. I'm pretty sure that's a poem, if I'm not mistaken, but maybe it's just him tripping, and that's cool too. I thought it was like Brian Frost or something, but maybe I'm tripping on that. Yeah, it's tricky because on the look, a lot of prohibitions from things, even like in America, prohibition, no one drink booze, and it's like then people did speakeasies, and life finds a way, as they say. So I think I was actually talking about this with my girlfriend today. It's like because she's been raised a Christian, and she was kind of asking about, I mean, she grew up culturally this way, and she's not resonating with that now, but she had questions just about the Old Testament, like, is that the same God? And and she didn't know about Ishmael and Isaac and all the sorts of stuff that like has like real material consequences, even if it's just whatever. It's just like stuff I know because I know a lot about stuff. And it's tricky because a Bible verse that sticks with my mind is like, raise up your child in the way they should go. Every culture is a petri dish, and you're trying to basically program and engineer your offspring to be like upright citizens who function properly. At one point, the values, change. So at one point, it's like, go hunt and kill and be awesome like Thor or whatever. And now we're more like, be, democratic, laissez-faire. You see what I mean? Like, it's just a different value set now. And it really depends on where you go. If you go in the middle of, Tokyo is not the same thing as New Delhi. So I forgot where my train of thought was going with this, but basically fuck around and find out. I don't know if I can cuss on here. We're scientists, and you're only gonna I think Mark Twain said there's something you can learn by holding a cat by its tail that you can learn no other way.
Right.
I'm not of the impression that there's like some like, once again, you have to be discerning, and then it gets into like agreements and weird levels of things I'm not exactly sure about. So it's like, if you do psychedelics and you have a psychosis, should you be afraid of them, or did you agree to have this mental breakdown? Is psychosis actually, a form of shamanism and awakening that's just mislabeled? Like, it gets tricky. So I'm ranting. I tend to do this, but the idea
you're totally not.
I know I am. So I'm trying to be like, where's the tether, Jim? Find the thread. The idea is like you are your own guide in a weird way, and whatever, whether it's angels or cards or astrology or biblical characters or Neil deGrasse Tyson, you're a solid atheist or whatever. It's like these are all kind of ways we're apprehending the Tao, the being of reality, and it can't be expressed, and everyone's coming at it from a different angle of approach and different rates of metabolism. So just have grace with yourself and be open, and play with things. And if it scares you past a point, like maybe revisit why it scares you, like dig into those beliefs. There's things that I don't have answers. Some answers don't have, some experiences don't even have answers necessarily. Like when I smoked DMT and saw Egyptians and had a Kundalini awakening and all sorts of stuff, I was not expecting that. I don't have a connection to Egypt as far as I'm concerned. Like, so what do I do with this? Is it my imagination? Is this ontologically true? Like, what's going on? So, people should play around on the playground. And if you like playing the game, The Floor is Lava, do it and include others. And if you're afraid of playing The Floor is Lava, like, that's fine. Play on the monkey bars, but like kind of ask why, know thyself, the Oracle of Delphi, like figure out why you're doing what you're doing, and explore the game of life. That's the fucking point.
Yeah. So then I guess, what are your thoughts about this? So there's a little conversation going on about maybe there was a previous owner to the cards, and Michelle said yes. Maybe
the juju from somebody else. That's why I was really stoked on when my ex-fling or whatever gave me those tarot cards. I opened an unopened one, and I'm not going to put it out there and be like, you have to do it that way or anything. I just felt like I approached it with a very clean energy, and I don't take other people's decks. I've been gifted a few decks. I buy them outright. The one time I was gifted a deck, it was like an original Aleister Crowley Thoth deck in Australia, and I felt like a weird energy about it. I'm not even going to judge the guy. He was a Libra, by the way, I think. But I'm not even against. It's like whatever, in a sense. Like, yay, Moonchild, whatever. Like, I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of like Aleister Crowley necessarily, left-hand path stuff. But I felt like there was definitely heaviness is too strong a word, but like some kind of
energetic.
But I don't want to make it sound spookier than it is.
But listen, I was
like apprehensive to use it. I was like, it's powerful. There's something here. I don't know.
Right. That was my question. Like, do you believe in energy, and that energy can exist in that way? And I'm imagining that there's some aspect of that you can subscribe to because of that.
Somebody says bless it and clear it. Sure. I haven't messed around with it long enough to know. So it's not like I was sitting here saging a deck and being like, oh, please pass the litmus. I'm just like, hey, if that house looks haunted, I'm not going to go running through it.
Right. Of course. I just want to address Marie mentioned tarot cards have over 400 religious, angelic, archangel, and archangel biblical symbolisms within the illustration. Some are subtly and some are not so subtle. Which is
like the high priestess with the Torah upper sleeve. And I wrote music to all the major arcana songs, and one of the lyrics for Unconscious Awareness is the title of that song for the High Priestess. H up her sleeve, which sounds like heroin or something now that I think about it, but it's like H up her sleeve because you see Torah without the H. It's like she's got the H up her sleeve. So yeah, there's a lot. I mean, this is one of the best things of Tarot. It focuses your attention, but just like a psychedelic trip or something, it's like there's so many facets to any one thing that it's just this infinite fractal of cogitation. I mean, it's like a Zen koan or something. It's art though, so it's fun.
Yeah. No, and I think it's interesting too. I mean, I talk about that all the time. You kind of touched on this a little bit, like I think everybody's different. So some people read tea leaves, right? That's their conduit to whatever energy they're connecting to. And I think the idea of being able to accept that, right, and not question that and be like, okay, you do tarot, you do tea leaves, and that those are both kind of, for me, I see them as the same thing, right, even though they're obviously very different, but they're just conduits to an energetic kind of signature. I mean,
this is a weird parallel, but like the evolutionary tree of life, it's like sea slugs are not the same as monkeys, which are not the same as cardinals, but in a sense, depending on your presuppositions, they're all emanating from a certain source and just manifesting as tendrils of different articulation. So beliefs are not much different. And I think Jim Henson had a line, I might have talked about this when you were on the podcast, but he has a line from, I know I did because you talked about his movie or whatever. Now I was like having a flashback, a good flashback. Basically there's a line in Rainbow Connection, which is a great song, and it's like somebody said something, somebody believed it, look where that's got us so far. It's a little cynical in a sense where it's like just a sniffing salt of like, why do we believe what we do?
Right.
Just because mom said Santa Claus ate the cookies, are you going to believe it? Like, you need verifiable proof. And then sometimes things are so it's like pearls to swine thing, where it's like you're going to have experiences that are ineffable and not translatable to others. And trying to do so will dilute and water it down and ruin it in a sense. Like if Van Gogh had tried to be like, guys, I just see life from this colored way. It's like if he had tried to justify it or whatever, it wouldn't have happened that way. So we have to be just true to ourselves, and that means you're going to scrape your knees. That means you're going to make friends on the playground. That means you're going to get lost and scared sometimes. Like there's a season for everything. Ecclesiastes style.
And I like your outlook, because I do believe that sometimes people get comfortable, like, like, oh, that guy, that's the guy with my answers, and they stick with kind of one thing, and they don't like see the rest of the table there where they can taste this or they can taste that. There's a buffet out there of all different things. I think you alluded to that in our conversation.
Well, the trip with that, the problem, not a problem, but the paradox with that is, like, on the one hand, as postmoderns, which we inherently are, given the fact of where we are in time space, people want a quick breakdown. Modernity is like A plus B equals C. Postmodernity kind of started with like quantum mechanics and Jung and Jackson Pollock, and when people are starting to be like, it's all kind of relative to the the narrative is relative to the witness in the story. Is Darth Vader bad? Depends on how you're looking at it, that kind of thing. So it's not just like, I mean, materialism is cool because it got us like aqueducts and shit like that. So it's like, it's cool to have logic and weights and measures and all that. But now we're getting to a new place where it's like, actually it's really relative depending on which part of the trunk of the elephant or the foot, that kind of thing. What I was getting at is the paradox of the buffet, all you can eat ontology style. We're naturally accustomed to that. It's consumeristic in a sense. I don't want to, not in a negative way, but past a point. But we're like, hey, if I want to watch this on Netflix, I'm just gonna. Oh, do I do tarot? Let me mess around. Do I do astrology? And that's how we learn. So it's all good. But there is something, and I mean, I don't do this personally, but I'm sure there's something to be said and garnered through the process of attaching. There's a different kind of alchemical gold from like being like, I have a guru and I don't sway from this path. Kind of like Luke Skywalker or whatever. He's like, Yoda's my dude. He's my teacher. This is the fucking law of the land. Like, he didn't just go, I'm going to go play on saxophones in the bar or whatever and Tatooine. So I just wanted to kind of say that, and it's one of those things where we're air signs. We can ramble around a thing.
Yeah. You're triggering so many things in my head, Jim. And,
let it out.
And you're right. Like, as far as like rambling. Well, I mean, just the idea. So for me, and I'm not usually cynical, right? I'm not cynical about very many things, but for me, I feel like the idea of the Industrial Revolution which, like you said, it's a double-edged sword, right? Like there are so many things that came out of that give us comfort and make life easier. But in making life easier, I think it's disconnected us from a lot of the basic things about life that we probably should know, because now life is so different, and we've lost kind of understanding of some of those things. And you know, like right now, the date and age we're in, and not to like talk fear, but like if the power was to suddenly go out,
solar flare,
a lot of people are going to struggle with survival. Whereas, you know, a couple hundred years ago, people knew how to farm and make their own food, and, you know, didn't have to, you know, depend on comforts like that, you know.
Yeah. So the hard part about all that is like, I mean, it depends on your beliefs, but it's like everybody's exactly where they need to be. I hope, I believe, at any given point. So the people dealing with bubonic plague and like illiteracy and like, you know, all that kind of stuff, those were the conditions of the Tao at the time that they were gonna they prescribed to, or whatever, agreed to bloom within, and that and nothing is ever going to be the same. So they had, you know, their own issues, like life expectancy was low or whatever, but maybe they had a deeper connection to natural rhythms or something like that. Whereas now, like, it's like a little, I mean, worst case scenario is like Wall-E, the Disney movie, or something, where it's like we've expedited so much, and technology's gotten so much that like we're losing a little of what it means to be a human as we know it. We're disconnected. We're digital everything.
Wait, a little bit. Didn't they lose their skeletons completely?
Oh, in Wall-E, yeah. I mean, the whole point, they had convenience. It was like a mall, like they lived in a food court or something, and had electric chairs taking them everywhere. So it's like Tesla on crack for 1,000 years from now. But so there's advantages to that in a way, like depending on your cost benefit analysis. But in another way, there's disadvantages. And it's not. I mean, I maybe have heard too much of Bashar stuff, but it's like, I don't even want to say it's good and bad. It's like there's preferable and non-preferable circumstances in anything. So it's like, I mean, Rome is awesome, but I mean, they were throwing Christians to lions for instead of watching it Monday Night Football or whatever. You know, it's like, okay, well, so there's always, I mean, it's the joke. The cosmic joke is like, you know, one step forward, two steps back. Like we gain some things, we lose some things. And honestly, the trip, I feel, and I'll shut up after this, is like, it's a blessing just to be aware in the body at all. Comparison is the thief of joy. So we don't really want to always be like, well, Little House on the Prairie had it great, and now we're just so screwed because of
right.
It's like, well, they had their hopes and dreams and nightmares and all that too. So just enjoy the ride in a Bill Hicks sense.
And that's what I was saying. I don't usually sit there and ponder these things, right?
Oh, right.
Because you know, that's not where I'm at. I'm right here with you. So why don't we enjoy the moment a little bit? And
definitely.
And
the one thing about air signs, we could just get off into the stratosphere.
And not that I'm not enjoying the moment, I'm enjoying this immensely, but so the audience can kind of join in and enjoy. You do some amazing tarot readings. Do you feel like pulling cards? I saw a couple of people.
I can. Do you want just like a vibe check? Do you guys want? Oh, look, the Eight of Pentacles.
We can do a vibe check. Yeah, we can do a vibe check. I did see a couple of people who mentioned that they were kind of open. If you're
I'll look at the comments and all that. And Brian, he does tarot. I know he's done a shit ton of stuff with Raphael on it. I mean, it's one of those things where it's a little like, I don't even know, like cars. I'm not a gearhead, but it's like, hey, you can be an engineer and like cars. You can be a fan of NASCAR and like it from the outside. I mean, there's lineages to this and correspondences that are more traditional and some are less traditional. I just kind of wing it, and I really enjoy a lot. It's just like improvisational art to me. So I'll say things that I think are true through what I've heard, but I'm not sitting here saying this thus says the Lord, kind of thing.
Of course.
And I don't have a microphone stand, so I'm probably gonna be juggling a lot. But I'll hit mute so we don't hear like chafing of my clothing and all this stuff.
No worries. So this was just one that I saw earlier. Bernadette said, if you're taking questions, just looking for messages from her guides. Bernadette has the Unleashing Potentials podcast, which I've been meaning to check out because she's been popping into my podcast here, and I definitely want to see what she's all about. Maybe invite her on.
That's all this cross-pollination. That's what I mean. Team Rabbit Hole, the whole idea. I mean, long story short, and I've got you a card, Bernadette, but I'll say this while it's on my mind. Basically, when I was waking up in 2012, like I was saying, I was saying like hashtags had just come out. So I was like, oh, instead of taking food selfies, I'm going to start posting kind of hyper sigil sticky notes on social media to remind myself and inspire myself and trigger others basically into like appreciation, gratitude, wisdom, whatever the fuck. It's like graffiti in the bathroom kind of thing. It's like, I'll do what I can. And damn, I totally spaced on what I was trying to say. Oh yeah, Team Rabbit Hole. We're all going down the rabbit hole together, the royal we in a Big Lebowski sense.
Yes.
Like it's
I love that.
In a 2012, post 2012 kind of sense. Like we're all in this kind of gravitational well towards apotheosis. I'm not even sure. I mean, I don't even want to like wet everybody's yeah, exactly. We could just wake up in a simulation, we could fall into a black hole and stretch forever. Exactly. I have no clue.
Infinite possibilities. That's what's so good about it.
But we're all going through it together. So the fact that you're talking to people with podcasts and stuff, I love the cross-pollination aspect of this. So I pulled for her the Hierophant. Oh my gosh, how am I going to juggle all this? Here, can I do this without making too much shebangery?
Take your time.
Because usually the headphones I do in the morning are connected, so I can like do all this stuff. This is a totally different thing. Whatever. Here, I can do this.
We can probably hear you.
That's what's up. So this is the Hierophant card in the hopefully you can see it. It's kind of reflective.
Oh, you know what? Let me put you big here. There you go.
Oh my gosh, all this lens flaring and stuff.
There you go.
It's a little reflective. I apologize for the gloss, but this card is like I've written music. This is a major arcana. I don't know how into tarot you are. I wrote a song called "On Loan from God," which is a Rush Limbaugh quote. I'm not too into him, but my grandparents were, and I was always like, "That's just the funniest thing to say." Anyway, the Pope. There's a new Pope. This is the guy, usually a Pope on the card, and it's the Hierophant. It's like the exoteric, the outer masculine spiritual truth. So the hidden things, like the feminine hidden kind of thing, that's the High Priestess. This is the reverse of that. It's like, thus says the Lord, like this is what's up. So your guides, if you want to say that, says I am the teacher, and I'm reading from his book, David D'Angelis, Starman Tarot. He's coming out with a new version soon, I think, but dope deck. I love it.
Cool.
Used it every day for years. The Hierophant, I am the teacher of universal law. It's about being the caretaker of spiritual knowledge, teaching others what you know, awakening to a greater understanding of the world, and paying attention to the details. And it's corresponding with Taurus, where the Sun and Uranus are exactly conjunct right now. So, I mean, I'm not going to be like, your guides tell me this, but it's like from that, I would gather you got stuff to tell people. Don't hide it under a bushel. And, try to I mean, I reference Christianity and culture, like movies and stuff a lot, because I'm just, a fucking almost 40-year-old white kid from suburban America. So I've got a lot of kind of melting pot culture going on. But anyway, you're blessed to be a blessing, right? I think it says somewhere in the Bible that, and you're clearly blessed, probably with an awareness. I mean, I'm not going to be like, this is Ganesh is your guide, or, I have no clue. But the idea is, and you can't really see it, but there's a flower of life back there. It's got this electrical fire coming out, like tendrils. It's like the ineffable is speaking to you, and you are a conduit of that, and you're going to have your own perspective as a very, your own slice of the truth here, and you have keys that nobody else has that you need to use to unlock others. That's true of everybody here. I don't want to like water. That's what's coming through. It's like, look, share your experience and try to tell people what you're seeing. I guess the shadow of this would be, don't pull a jihad on people that don't agree with you or whatever, don't just freak out and tell people they're going to hell or something. It's like, know your truth, stand in it, but like, truth and love, that kind of thing. I'm rambling. Your turn.
No, you seem right on. She said she obviously has a podcast, but she's been sharing adoption stories, and she's going to be sharing her story soon, which is exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, standing in your truth and telling the people.
Right, and she's saying I paint, and then she's also saying God scares me in all the right ways. I've slowly been sharing. So she's been following her own guides and following her own energetic push to do exactly what she's doing, and I truly believe that. I believe everything happens exactly the way it's supposed to, and the more comfortable you are with that, the better it feels.
That could have radical consequences. Like you caught me on the live today or yesterday, I think it was, and I was talking about how, like, I mean, I don't know, I'm playing with these ideas, but it's like, do the people in the Civil War agree that they're going to go kill each other? Did the Hiroshima victims say, like, this is how I'm going out? Like, I mean, it gets tricky where like it kind of takes away accountability in some way, but in another level, it makes even better sense than just us saying shit happens. So it's a tricky thing. But anyway,
right. For sure.
Anybody else need a card?
Yes.
And I've got another deck on. I've got aliens. If you guys
once I said it, a bunch of people said I'm open. I'm open. So
you gotta say tarot or alien, because those are the ones that in my hand now.
All right. So we have Michelle Olivier There is so much life is throwing at me more than usual. I feel like I'm getting tested.
I'm gonna go with Tarot, so because she didn't say nothing. But
Right.
in the future, if y'all want a card, do say that, you know,
And
Galactic or Tarot.
One of my favorite photographers is named Danny Olivier. I don't know if there's any relation there, but Danny Olivier, and he inspired me to shoot with a projector. So I take a projector and I shine it on a model, and then I do like portraits and pictures.
Shit.
Really cool stuff. So that Olivier, that made me think of that. So
that's what's up. It reminds me a little. I don't know if it's Frank Zappa. I know on Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon album liner notes, it's kind of X-ray looking through stuff with lighting. But I feel like I feel like it's called like xenography or something weird Zappa was doing, where it's just like what you're talking about, where it's like projecting onto something and having almost a hyper-dimensional mixed media experience, where it's like light on, like lava lamps on top of a poster on top of
right exactly
sound or whatever. All right, so Michelle would like a card. All right, here we go. And I love how we're all artists up in here.
Yeah, look at that. Oh wow, that's awesome. I'm an artist. Yeah.
So man, a lot of strong masculine energy coming through tonight. So we had, you know, the Hierophant. Now this actually, I was just talking about Frank Zappa in the little booklet. It's like this Zappa-esque guy. So funny. Am I causing this? Am I just? This gets funny. Synchronicity is funny. But anyway, the King of Pentacles, Michelle. So if you don't know, Pentacles are about like the material things: your money, your car, your body, your routines, time. Right, like the practical, grounded aspects of reality. And the King is the highest masculine element of that. So it's the earthy part of Earth, if you want to put it that way. And let me open to this because I mean I like jamming off of what he's written enough where I'm like, this is a great springboard for me to let my neurons fire afterwards. But basically the King of Pentacles, and sometimes I say the page number. So if there's a numerological sync, like 98, 98 degrees in the shade kind of thing. King of Pentacles, I have mastered the art of success. It's the earthy part of Earth, so the grounded, practical part of the material, like the mundane, but in a good way. It's not just like, oh, the boring. It's like the embodied. The 3D says stable and tenacious, sometimes a workaholic, so a little shadow there. Refined aesthetic, commitment to the path you are on, respect and value of the items in your charge. So I don't know what her question was exactly. Like, I need some guidance. Basically, you have everything you need. Be a good steward of it. Like you don't constantly be like, oh, when I get that degree, I'll be ready, or you know, whatever that trip is. You know, it doesn't mean don't get educated or don't open the Etsy shop or whatever. But it's like you have between the internet and you know credit lines, while there's still capitalism, you have probably everything you need at your disposal at some level, even if it's through
between
networking.
the internet and credit lines.
Yeah, I'm like, well, you can make. I mean, anybody can make a business. I don't even have a business, right? I've been doing donation based shit forever. So so I'm one to speak. I don't have brick and mortar or anything. But yeah, the King of Pentacles, this Zappa-esque dude. It's like, you know, refine it, put it on display, be proud of what you're up to. Don't, once again, the Hierophant's more like speak your truth, shout your truth. This is more like show us what you polished. You got a ruby, you've been polishing it. Like don't just keep it. Yeah, you got a Fabergé egg. Don't hide it in the safe. Like put it on display. Yeah. So that's kind of what's coming on here.
Awesome.
Yeah. I could rant forever. You know how I roll. So it's like,
no, I love that. She says, I'm actually ready to move forward as my husband passed away 2 years ago. Yeah. Right. And so that
you're stable and grounded now. I mean, he's sitting on this chair, and I mean, there's like a little hole down here. It's like you had the center of your life pulled out from you, but there's also a little trees in back there. It's like new life, you know. I don't want to. It's like the circle of life. Like life goes on, and that sounds crazy. And I don't want to get into like, you know, the movie Ghost, where it's like he's always with you. I have no clue how this stuff works. Right. But you're, you know, the hole was in your life, and now you've climbed out of it. There's a little ladder, and sitting pretty up here, and it's like you've made peace with the grief. I hope to a large degree, and that doesn't mean probably go on, you know, eHarmony right away, but it does mean like start playing, you know, in the world again, the world stage. Show us who you are and represent, because you know, this is your life. Live it.
And I, you know, so I heard that a couple of weeks back. I remember that same analogy, right? And I think it was from a card, which means like, you have a diamond, don't keep it in the closet, like show it. And
diamond in the rough,
right? And I think that's true about everybody, right? I mean, I think, and maybe some people are still polishing their diamond, you know what I mean? Still
When
working
are
on,
we not?
but right, when are we not, right?
Yeah.
We're always. So
It's like
I
Antiques
love it.
Roadshow. You have value
Yeah.
and you don't even know it. It's like that thing's
Yeah.
rare as fuck. Come on out. It's
Right.
funny, on the bottom of the deck is the Emperor. It's like all these masculine cards, possibly the most masculine cards are popping. I'm not really sure what that's about.
Michelle just kind of validated. I know he would be really sad if I continued to feel the way that I have been feeling. So yes, she's ready to change that and move forward. And
a movie that might help with that, and it's a weird movie because it's totally not exactly the same, but What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams has pretty heavy kind of grief, death
amazing.
kind of stuff. And you can love somebody through time, and I don't know, maybe it'll trigger you in a lot of ways. But the point is, smile because it happened. And like, I guess, I mean, I don't want to just throw platitudes and like bumper stickers all over this, but it's like beautiful things to everything. There's a season, including our own lives, So, condolences, but in entering the next, you're turning the page, and that's kind of where you're at.
No, all good. Perfect. I think it's perfect. So I know Eveline was here at the beginning. Eveline said something about the alien deck. She's interested in the alien.
This is the Galactic Heritage deck. Raphael turned me on to this. He used to be Raphael's my co-host on the Team Rabbit Hole podcast. He's, I think, still doing, but has done at least some stuff with Wizard of Odd. They were, I forget exactly what, but they were working together at some level. That's how I know Brian, and how I know you, Michael, is through Raphael. He used to be way into this deck. For a long time, now I just pull a random card, but for a long time, probably for the first, we have 310 episodes now. So for the first probably 100 or 200, I'd be like, oh, look, it's the, 13th that reduces to 4, which is the major arcana. I kept it like going like that. And he would pick out, there's 108 in here. I got to open it. And he would read from this, and we would just be seeing like what syncs and what jams. I've never seen people do that on a podcast. I think it's how I roll. So it's authentic. And it's entertaining. And it's always fun to just be like, oh my God, look, there are little machine elves running behind the scenes, like the magic is real. Oh my God. So I gotta get some. Does she want a card, or she was just asking about the card?
She was saying she's looking for a card, I believe.
Okay, so this is Elisa Royal Holt.
Open for alien.
Galactic Heritage cards. It's got like past, present, and future timelines. A lot of different species being represented. 108 cards, which is a sacred Buddha, the number of mala beads on a Buddhist necklace. 108. And I think she said, and I'm not sure because I haven't even read this. I have the deck and I fuck with it, but I haven't like read every page. I'm pretty sure she said she channeled it through Saint Germain or something like that. So je ne sais pas, but this is here. Let me shuffle and get I really should get my microphone stand out one day. Like I haven't used to hold it, so I'm like, oh God, I gotta pull a card.
Oh, good. That's the beauty of live. The beauty of live. And I know a bunch of people asked, but we're already coming up on 10 o'clock. But as you're getting ready and shuffling the card, is there? I didn't know if there was a website or a place where people could find you other than on Facebook. I certainly want to endorse listening to you in the morning. The readings are a lot of fun.
Yeah. I can kind of multitask. Just so she has number 64, the number of hexagrams in the I Ching. That's pretty cool. And I'll read the thing. Devotion to service, Pleiades, present timeline. You got a Pleiadian card. I mean, I'll just say this really quick. So on Facebook, if you look up Jim Kincaid, how it's spelled here, Brother Jim is my astrology page, but I think Dolphinately Jim, if you type that in, like definitely, but with dolphin instead. I think that's the actual name of my personal Facebook page. I make a bunch of memes and post crazy stuff I'm reading and correspond stuff, do lives, tarot. You can see the podcast through there. I have a TikTok now, Brother Jim. If you guys are on there, follow me, because if I can get like 20 more people, I can go live. I think you need 1,000 people following you. YouTube is, I guess, Jim Kincaid. I don't mess with it that much, but I should, so I can go live on there one day. So follow me on whatever. And there's if you go to Bandcamp and type in Brother Jim, I've got all my songs. I'm a guitarist and songwriter and musician, and I've made music to all the major arcana and the Maiden, the Mother, the Crone, archetypes, all these things. So a bunch of cool music out there too. So anyway, devotion to service, and I should say teamrabbithole.com. And it's really mostly on Raphael's YouTube. Act Like You Know 23, I think, or 26. Act Like You Know 26. Team Rabbit Hole is if you type in hashtag Team Rabbit Hole, you'll probably find the podcast and various things. People like Rupert Sheldrake, Android Jones, the
Awesome.
Leo King, Capace, Michael
I'm
here,
adding that.
all sorts of peeps. Yeah. I mean, yeah, look, have fun finding me. Like, it's like a little game. Find the elf. So, devotion to service, 64 Palladian timeline of the present. Let me open it, and hopefully we can get a couple more people before you dip. Or if not, that's okay too. I don't even know what time it is. All right, so this says on page 103, number 64, Pleiades, devotion to service, present timeline. As a result of their evolution in history, the Pleiadians are now a species devoted to service. This is the main reason why they have interacted with humans for thousands of years. A deep transformation takes place within when you devote your actions to service. This does not mean self-sacrifice, however. If you are already being of service to others, know that this calling is one you have felt for many lifetimes. If you feel you're not being of service yet, this is a message to get on that soon, to start soon. Remember, being of service begins with small things, a smile on the street, or sending love from your heart. Redefine what service means to you and begin reaching out. There's more, but I won't read too much.
I love that. That's such a great one. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the deck is dope. It's really good. And considering it's aliens, I mean, I was always like, I don't know, like I want to believe, but I don't know.
Yeah. And again, that's just, I feel like a lot of times I feel like the messages are really like just philosophical ways to be. You know what I mean? Like just general things for everybody. And Michelle is just saying, I just wanted to thank you for sharing your ability and time with all of us.
Definitely.
I really appreciate the reading. This live is interesting, informative. Well, thank you for being here. It wouldn't be interesting if it was just me and Jim.
It would be. Let's be real. It'd be fun.
Actually, that would be interesting. We would find it interesting, but it's really cool. And Evelyn says, "How cool! I've been told on Pleiadian service is imperative."
Bada bing.
There you go. Bada bing, bada boom.
Synchronicities abound. See, that's a good example. It's like I think things can be channeled and resonate, and I'm not going to be like, "I told you so," but it's like, look, it's like reconstructing a crime scene in a weird way, like energetically. Right. So it's like, hey, if the bullet went through that hole and it's, you heard the shot, then it adds up.
I feel like always just like we're just waiting in it. It's like wading in the pool of existence, just floating and enjoying it rather than trying to figure it out.
There is no understanding it. That's the paradox. Yeah, it's like the moment you try to name it, it's not that thing anymore. You can't put a pin in the donkey here.
Exactly. Totally. Wow. Yeah. Jim, I got to tell you, this has been a lot of fun.
Good.
I don't mean to cut it off, but it's like, I know my audience starts to fall off after about an hour. Maybe not, maybe with you, they would be here forever. But I also know that Thursday, we're doing this again. You're coming on the live stream of consciousness. I'll have a couple of different questions for you to get us started. It's a little bit of a different feel, but it's really not. It's me showing up, it's you showing up, so I'm sure it'll feel similar to this. Michelle is telling us it's 3 a.m. in the UK, wide awake always around this time.
Is that a signal to keep going, or do you want to pull it? I should say one thing. I mean, I do readings. It's 3 hours for astrology is $150, and 1 hour of tarot and cards in general is $50. But if it's your birthday, it's half off. Happy birthday to you. And then if you have a referral, like if if Michael's like, I got a reading here, Michelle, go to him, and Michelle comes, Michael would get half off on cards. So awesome. I want to help people, and every day, like I do this on Facebook and I post it on YouTube, a shorter version, like a 10-minute TikTok-y kind of formatted thing. But on Facebook, I'm just jamming, and it could be 20 minutes, it could be, I mean, you've seen it, it's like it goes wherever. So tune in, and I'd love to, it's free.
Very authentic. It's very authentic. It's energy happening in real time, which is, there's nothing better than that. And we've got 8:08 p.m. Colorado here. Have a wonderful evening. You guys out there in the audience, thank you guys so much for participating. Like I said, this is live. That's the whole point of me doing the show live, so that we can all interact with each other. Jim, brother Jim, you are amazing. I love talking to you and just kind of vibing and chilling. I can't wait till Thursday to do it again. We barely scratched the surface. I mean, we didn't even talk. I know you mentioned a couple of times that you created music to the tarot. But just even being a musician, you and I'm a musician, I'm a bass player.
We're gonna jam one day, man.
We have a million things to talk about, music wise, movie wise. We love the same movies, the way movies hit you, and all of that stuff. So we got tons of stuff to talk about. If you enjoyed this, join Jim and I again on Thursday on the live stream of consciousness. And before I stick you in the green room and sign off, do you have any words of love, wisdom, advice? What are you
there's so
feeling?
many trite things, Ram Dassian, Alan Wattsian, McKenna stuff coming to mind. I mean, really, we're all walking each other home. Let's just be lights on the way. Enjoy the ride. I mean, all these things at once, right? It's like, yo, we asked to be here, even if it's scary and weird. I mean, especially with the astrology now, it's so weird. We're shedding so many layers of conditioning, and we're entering a new aeon, largely energetically. So just know all you have to do is trust the process to the best of your ability, and play with life. Playing sometimes looks very serious, like, oh my gosh, I got to work out to be an Olympian. Sometimes play looks like sleeping and resting. Sometimes, it's like there's so many ways to do it. There's a season for everything, and just explore it and find the others. That's really the hashtag for Team Rabbit Holes. Find the others.
I love it.
We're all out here. We're all doing it. So just geek out. You'd be surprised. Strike up a conversation. Whenever I see a stranger, I'm like, I don't always guess their sign, but I'm like, I bet you're a Leo, or would you know when your time or sign is? So it's like, just break the ice, have fun.
I love it. I think that's probably my favorite one that I could boil down to 3 words. Any guest signing off with words of advice: find the others. I love
Always. That. You can take it. It's not. I think Timothy Leary said it, and Terrence McKenna took it from him, and I took it from them. So
beautiful.
Spread it, bro.
We're borrowing it tonight. Everybody, find the others. Jim, thank you so much. I'm going to put you back. Don't go anywhere. I want to say goodbye to you personally, but let me just sign these people off.
Word.
And we'll talk soon. Awesome. Oh, look at that. I went to the side. I need to go to the center. I need to center myself. I need to take a deep breath. Cherish the moment that I just had with Jim and you guys. I facilitated something. I manifested something. I love it when that happens. Tuesday nights I do it. Thursday nights I do it. I manifest my favorite moment of the week, and I show up, and whatever happens, happens. So I appreciate you guys all for being here. Tim, out there, what's up? Sorry I'm late. It's okay. There's always the replay. You could always watch the replay. You know what you should do, Tim, is you should type hashtag replay. If you're watching the replay, if it's not Tuesday, May 13th, type in hashtag replay. Just tickle the algorithm. It's fun to do. You can say that you did it. You tickled the algorithm. Again, Thursday, live stream of consciousness. Jim Kincaid, my guest again. An amazing conversation was had, and will sure to be had again. And I will see you guys next week. Peace.